we are learning new stuff about Travis Scott's new album, Utopia, by the day. I mean, you can tell by the videos I upload. But there is one question that always comes up when talking about this album and when it might release. And that is, what about Dystopia? What about this thing being possibly a double album? So today we're going to take a look at all the evidence and all the stuff that we've gotten from Travis himself that might hint towards this. So let's jump straight into this. If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. Real quick, if you don't want to listen to this, make sure to skip 10 seconds into the future, but you can now sign up for my free newsletter with the first link in the description. It comes every Sunday and details everything that's been happening in hip-hop over the past week, so make sure to do that. So we're going to go through all the evidence starting in 2021 when this really all began, and it's only going to get more convincing as we kind of unravel this whole thing, so make sure you stay tuned. Now I want to start in late 2021, and I want to start with the release of Escape Plan / Mafia, and obviously this little Dystopia EP that we got, because that was really when those rumors started. We got this EP, we got the Dystopia cover, and we thought that Dystopia was gonna be the mixtape before Utopia. And the theory behind this was that he's always done this. We had Days Before Rodeo before Rodeo. We had Birds in the Trap before Astroworld, and now we would have Dystopia before Utopia. And obviously this concept of dystopia, utopia works really well for at least some sort of connected albums or a double album, because dystopia refers to a world where basically everything is fucked, and utopia is the perfect place where people have no worries. And let's be real, the songs on the EP definitely sounded a little bit dystopian. They were darker in tone, and that's also why people thought that. And people are saying that because on the same day that those dropped, November 5th, 2021, also the Astroworld Festival incident happened. Y'all remember that? And so people are saying the whole plan for this double album got kind of wrecked because Travis had to kind of, deal with that afterwards. Also, what I wanted to add is that around this time, before we got that little EP, that little 2-pack, also On Thin Ice, who you might know on Twitter, who sometimes has inside information, other times it's just rumors, posted that Dystopia would be dropping before Utopia, but that is not a credible source in itself because not official, but I wanted to add it that we even got that theory before that, whole EP dropped. Well, even before November of 2021, we got the billboards for Utopia in California and Los Angeles to be exact. You might remember these. It says looking for Utopia, and then it had the Cactus Jack logo on it, and so we're kind of like, okay, Utopia is coming. But then there's also one that says wrong way. And maybe this is only referring to you driving in the wrong direction away from Utopia or whatever. Or maybe if you're looking for Utopia, that's the wrong way because Dystopia is coming before. That is something that I kind of thought about after we got that and after we kind of made theories about this. I know not as convincing, but we're going to get into more credible stuff in a second, and we're also going to cover the counter arguments just to have a fair discussion here. Also very interestingly, in 2021, Travis Scott covered ID magazine, and we kind of went over this back when this happened, but the funny thing is that in the upper left corner where it says the issue of the magazine, so in this case number 362, the name or title of his own cover story right here is called The Utopia in Dystopia Issue. So it's kind of like both in there, so they could be connected. Also 2021, we're going to get to 2022 in a second. I just want to get everybody up to date on all the evidence we got. We got this news that Travis was writing a film for the production company A24. And we got this picture right here where we can kind of see the first draft of this script, and we can see that it says something blacked out IA by Travis Scott. So apparently he didn't want us to know that this was going to be called Utopia or Dystopia, or he wanted that we thought it was going to be both. So that is why he left that kind of marked out or blacked out. So that is another kind of hint that he's always been, kind of riding the wave between Utopia and Dystopia. Well, now finally getting into all the recent news, What we talked about in the past couple of videos that I made on this ever since this started back up a couple of days ago, one of the most interesting things is that Mike Dean took to Instagram to share a picture that Travis Scott was tagged in, and where we can see him kind of mixing, mastering something, and we know he's mixing and mastering Utopia, and in the caption for this thing he just wrote Topia, like apostrophe Topia. So he also doesn't want to give us a conclusive decision whether it's going to be Utopia or Dystopia, maybe playing with the idea that both are still going to come. And I think that is actually pretty interesting that he doesn't say Utopia, but rather Topia, so that we can kind of replace it with Utopia or Dystopia. That kind of got me interested in this theory again, and I know a lot of y'all as well, because y'all commented that. What's also interesting concerning this Topia theme is that y'all remember the pictures that we got with Travis and the bodyguards, where they had a briefcase cuffed to their wrists so that we thought the album, the hard drive, was in that briefcase. Well, in one picture, Travis is stepping into a truck that has the license plate Topia. So also not Utopia, but Topia. And when you take a closer look at the briefcases, you might also interpret this as apostrophe Topia and not Utopia. I just thought that that is definitely something very interesting, and when you kind of look at it from that perspective, it definitely doesn't say Utopia, but rather Topia. And so what if the album is called Topia, but then we have two sides to it, so it being a double album? That's kind of the whole thing I'm getting at, but we'll get to that in a second. I just wanted to tease it real quick. Also, I think the fact that we got two different bodyguards with two different briefcases, it seems like, chained to their wrists, kind of seems that in one briefcase is Utopia, in the other is Dystopia. But don't take this for kind of official. I'm just giving out some theories that I got. Something that I also wanted to add is, y'all remember that leak Lost Forever that we got in 2021, I believe, as well, for the Cactus Jack Dior show? That one also has a darker vibe. So that one would also fit on Dystopia way more than Utopia, where we can expect maybe a little bit more upright or like a little bit happier bangers. Well, as I said, the theory is that we're going to have a double album, Utopia on the one side, Dystopia on the other side. And something that also supports this is, we went over this theory that Utopia might have 24 tracks based on a translation of a French Instagram story that Mike Dean reposted. I know, very complicated, but 24 tracks seems a lot. And so I've read the theory that it's going to be 12 on each side, so that we can have an album Utopia with 12 tracks, which is definitely reasonable, and an album Dystopia with 12 tracks. And just because it's a double album, that's why it's 24 tracks in total, even though that argument for the 24 tracks is not as convincing. I know we've discussed this in the past video. Now, I also want to go into the counter arguments because I want to have a fair discussion about this, and definitely let me know which arguments you find more convincing. First of all, we've only heard Travis talk about Utopia in the recent past. For example, for his cover of the Pin-Up Architectural magazine, in there he only talked about his definition of Utopia. That is what we went over in my last video yesterday on this. He doesn't give a definition or talk about dystopia. So there's definitely something that speaks against this. Also, y'all remember that we got this clip of him at the Houston Astros where he said that he played them the album in the locker room, and he said Utopia, and that he was going to have it, finished, wrapped up, mixed and mastered. So that also kind of plays against it if he's finishing an album Utopia. Also, what I wanted to add that goes against this theory of the two different albums being in the two different briefcases is that we've gotten a picture of The Weeknd with the Topia briefcase, kind of a hint that he's going to be a feature on there. I go over that in yesterday's video as well. But that also means that there will be a third version of the album. Also really doesn't play into the theory that there are two different albums and two different briefcases. But anyway, I thought that this was an interesting investigation to kind of undertake. Let me know what y'all think about this. I definitely see the possibility of this being a double album, just because the references that they made in the recent past about it just being Topia and not Utopia are pretty obvious, and they're starting to appear a little bit mysterious. So that's why I think there could definitely be something to this theory. Let me know what y'all think about this though. Do you think that Utopia is going to be a double album, going to be called Topia, and then it's going to be Dystopia, Utopia? All of the theories that you got on this, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.